We gathered 400 people to shop for groceries at the same exact store, at the same exact time, for the same exact items. What we discovered will fundamentally change how you think about grocery pricing forever. Two people standing next to each other, buying identical eggs, were charged different prices. Not by accident, by design. This isn't just about inflation anymore. This is about a sophisticated system that's been quietly studying you, learning your habits, and charging you accordingly. The former Federal Trade Commission Chair put it perfectly when she said, "The holy grail for companies has always been charging every single person the maximum amount they're willing to pay." Well, we just proved they're doing exactly that. And it's happening right under our noses every time we shop for groceries. 5 months ago, researcher Katie Wells from Groundwork Collaborative reached out to us with a troubling question. She'd been studying Instacart's workforce in Washington, D.C., and noticed something disturbing. Workers doing nearly identical jobs were getting paid vastly different amounts. Her question was simple, but profound. If they're doing this to workers, what are they doing to consumers? As someone who previously worked in grocery pricing, we knew this was worth investigating. But we also knew it wouldn't be easy. Grocery prices change constantly for legitimate reasons: seasonal fluctuations, supply chain issues, promotional cycles. You can't just compare random receipts and draw conclusions. If we wanted to test whether consumers were being charged different amounts for identical products at identical times, we'd need scale. Lots of people, rigorous methodology, and most importantly, we'd need to control for every variable we could think of. So we assembled a team: researchers, community organizers, journalists, and hundreds of regular people who cared enough to help us find the truth. What started as a simple question turned into a 5-month investigation that uncovered something much bigger than we initially imagined. We started with a basic test. Katie gathered volunteers in a room and had everyone open Instacart on their phones simultaneously. Same store, same 20 items, same pickup time to eliminate delivery variables. Everyone wrote their cart totals on note cards. The results were immediate and unsettling. People sitting in the same room, ordering from the same store at the same moment, were seeing different prices. But this was just a small sample. We needed more data to understand if this was a fluke or something systematic. That's when Consumer Reports joined our investigation, bringing their volunteer network and research capabilities. Together, we recruited over 400 people across the country to participate in coordinated shopping experiments. The process was methodical. Everyone opened Instacart simultaneously. Same stores, same items, same delivery addresses when pickup wasn't available. Participants screenshot everything and submitted their data. Our team verified every single entry, cross-checked every screenshot, and built a comprehensive database. When Katie crunched the numbers, what we found was genuinely shocking. People were being charged anywhere from $114 to $124 for identical 20-item carts. This wasn't happening in isolated cases. This was the majority of shoppers for the majority of items. Nearly 3 out of 4 products had different prices during our experiments. We found 4 different prices for wheat thins, 5 different prices for eggs, 3 prices for peanut butter. The same exact products, from the same exact stores, at the same exact moments in time. But here's what was truly bizarre. The system wasn't randomly assigning different prices to different people. Instead, it was sorting people into distinct price groups, where everyone in each group paid identical amounts for every single item. Some experiments showed 4 price groups, others showed 7. Everyone in Group 1 paid the higher prices across all products. Everyone in Group 4 paid the lower prices across all products. This wasn't random price variation. This was systematic, algorithmic sorting. We reached out to Instacart for an explanation. Their initial response was straightforward. They don't set prices, retailers do. We believed them at first, but the group structure suggested something more sophisticated was happening. Why would an algorithm sort people into buckets where everyone pays exactly the same prices across multiple products? That's when we discovered surveillance pricing. It's a type of algorithmic pricing where companies track your behavior. analyze your purchase history, and charge you based on what they think you're willing to pay. The technology exists to calculate this for every individual consumer, but for efficiency, people are typically grouped with similar consumers who exhibit comparable spending patterns. But when we showed Instacart our test results, their explanation shifted. They claimed retailers control all pricing and suggested our findings were just stores putting out random price tests to find optimal pricing points. They insisted they weren't targeting anyone specifically. So we decided to verify this with the actual stores we tested. First, we contacted Albertsons Safeway, a major Instacart partner. Complete silence. Then we reached out to Target. Their response was jaw-dropping. Target told us they don't work with Instacart, don't set prices on their platform, and have nothing to do with any of this. Wait, Instacart says retailers control the prices, but Target says they don't even work with Instacart. We dug deeper and discovered that in 2017, Target spent over $500 million to buy Shipt, Instacart's direct competitor. Why would they help a competitor? When we asked Instacart about Target's response, they finally admitted the truth. They actually do manage Target's prices on their marketplace and were running tests to figure out how much they could charge on top of Target's normal prices. Their explanation had completely shifted, but our core question remained unanswered. How does the system decide who gets sorted into which price groups? To understand this, we needed to dig into what Instacart actually does. Most people think of them as a delivery app, but they're much more than that. Instacart is fundamentally a technology company that sells pricing optimization tools, advertising platforms, and promotional systems to grocery stores. In 2022, they acquired Eversight, a company specializing in grocery price optimization. Eversight's technology runs constant pricing experiments that consumers never see. They're testing how much you're willing to pay for canola oil, using that information to maximize profits for their retail partners. They call it artificial intelligence for everyday price performance, promising profit increases of 2 to 5% for grocery stores. Consumer Reports ran follow-up experiments at Costco and found price gaps of 15% on identical items. When they asked Costco to explain, something remarkable happened. A Costco vice president accidentally forwarded them an internal email from Instacart describing a program called Smart Rounding. This inadvertent disclosure gave us our first glimpse inside the system. Smart Rounding is what Instacart calls their machine learning-driven tool that helps retailers improve price perception and drive incremental sales. Translation: flex prices up or down based on what the algorithm determines will maximize profit. According to Instacart's own shareholder communications, this system has generated millions of dollars in additional annual sales for their major grocery partners. We'd answered several key questions. Yes, different people are charged different prices for identical products. No, it's probably not random testing. Smart Rounding showed the system is explicitly designed for profit maximization, and retailers aren't necessarily in control, since Instacart admits to setting at least some grocers' prices directly, but we still couldn't definitively answer how the system sorts people into different price groups. Then we noticed something interesting. Schnucks, a regional grocer featured prominently in Instacart press releases, showed no price variation whatsoever in our tests. Every single person paid identical amounts for every single item. One night, it hit us. What if they'd already moved past online testing? Electronic shelf labels, digital price tags that can change instantly, are becoming increasingly common in grocery stores. If stores are testing prices in real time using these labels, and the app simply mirrors what's on the shelf, our online testing methodology would never catch it. This might explain Schnucks' uniform pricing. The typical fear with electronic shelf labels is surge pricing, raising lemonade prices when it's hot outside. But what if the goal isn't dramatic surge pricing at all? What if it's more subtle and permanent? Would you rather charge $10 for a bottle of water during a single hurricane, or 20 cents more every single day? We found a patent describing infrastructure for constant in-store price testing. Take dozens of stores, cluster them together, test different prices in different clusters, The purpose is finding the most profitable price point, then adopting it across all locations. When we asked Schnucks and Instacart about this, both denied it. But Instacart's website told a different story. If you visited their site during our investigation, you would have seen 3 main features advertised. But before we started asking questions, there were 4 features. The one that disappeared, price optimization with Eversight via electronic shelf labels, gone. So Instacart denied doing in-store price testing, then quietly removed it from their marketing materials. Later, they told us it was never actually a feature and claimed the website update was made for accuracy. But this didn't track with reality. The feature appeared in past marketing materials and press releases. If this system is operational, it represents a truly impressive feat of engineering. In-store testing across multiple locations, online testing across individual consumers, all coordinated through sophisticated algorithms. We still couldn't definitively answer how the online system decides who pays more, so we started building a theory based not on what Instacart told us, but on what they told the government through patent filings. The word that appears repeatedly in these patents isn't random, it's segmentation. We found criteria they could use to sort people into price groups. Some raised serious red flags, particularly demographic-based pricing, which would be illegal. Keddy controlled for demographics in our sample and found no correlation. Experts we consulted agreed that demographic-based pricing would be both illegal and ineffective. What would be far more effective, and perfectly legal, is varying prices based on behavioral characteristics, purchase history, shopping frequency, price comparison behavior, coupon usage, loyalty program participation, an infrastructure that tracks everything you do and uses it to decide what to charge you. When we asked Instacart if behavioral segmentation explains who gets sorted into different price groups, they dismissed it as one old patent from 2015, before they purchased Eversight. They claimed patents are always broad and don't prove they're actually using the technology. Fair point. Except we found multiple patents, marketing materials touting these patents, and promotional documents describing shopper and product headroom, meaning how much more money could this specific person spend overall, and how much more could they spend on this particular product. The patents indicate they can calculate this for every individual consumer. But for efficiency, people are typically grouped with similar consumers. Groups exactly like our tests revealed, every company practicing algorithmic price discrimination strenuously denies they're doing so. It's a pattern we see repeatedly across industries. What happens when companies actually implement this technology at scale? In 2022, Uber rolled out algorithmic pricing for both riders and drivers. Over the following 3 years, average rider prices per mile increased consistently. Uber denies this, but around this time, they transformed from a money-losing company to a profitable one. That's how you turn grocery sales into a gold mine. And why more companies are racing to perfect what experts call the dark art of algorithmic price discrimination. Now, algorithmic pricing sometimes offers lower prices to certain consumers, and measuring the total impact on grocery prices is virtually impossible. Instacart is just one company representing a small slice of the grocery market. They claim 10 retail partners use Eversight technology. But what are other companies doing? There's an entire industry built around optimizing grocery prices. Pricing optimization companies advertise that pricing is the single most powerful lever to raise profits, far more effective than boosting sales or cutting costs. We spoke with Errol Schweizer, who spent 25 years in grocery retail, including as VP of Grocery at Whole Foods. He explained that adoption is largely defensive. Amazon's already doing algorithmic pricing. Walmart is doing it. So everybody else has to keep up. Walmart's former VP of pricing confirmed that merchant pricing teams rely heavily on technology and algorithms to safeguard profits. Instacart has played a vital role for Amazon and Walmart competitors, providing smaller retailers access to the same sophisticated tools and consumer data as the industry giants. These systems are constantly watching consumers, learning patterns, and using that information to charge accordingly. As one expert put it, they know things about us that we don't know about ourselves. They're smarter than us, and we're training them in ways that are incalculable. This transformation didn't happen overnight. It represents 20 years of building technological infrastructure that was previously kept in check by industry inertia. Everyone was afraid to raise prices significantly. COVID changed that dynamic completely. Suddenly, there were no guardrails. It became a free-for-all, the Wild West of pricing experimentation. Companies are now investing millions into systems specifically designed to outsmart consumers. Constant testing, continuous learning, always searching for maximum profit extraction. The Holy Grail has always been charging every single person the maximum amount they're able or willing to pay. Studies like ours validate that firms are already midway through executing this strategy. Former FTC Chair Lina Khan agreed to review our findings with an eye toward consumer protection. She pointed out that this could ultimately represent another significant wealth transfer from ordinary Americans to massive corporations. She was particularly concerned about the sophistication of available tools and the deep information asymmetries between consumers and the firms benefiting from these systems. But there was something else that troubled her. When companies like Instacart facilitate pricing across multiple retailers, it could allow firms that should be competing against each other to engage in something resembling price fixing or collusion. Because one company, Instacart, might be setting prices for retailers who should theoretically be competing with each other. When we asked about regulation, her answer was surprising. She believes we need a fundamental conversation about whether we want to permit these tactics in the first place. Under her leadership, the FTC launched investigations into surveillance pricing and the use of artificial intelligence to rapidly change prices. These investigations continue under the new administration. Though public comment periods have been suspended, Khan pointed out that states don't need to wait for federal action. California and New York have already taken steps to ban certain types of algorithmic price fixing in areas like housing and rent. These are extraordinarily important precedents that could extend to grocery pricing. 5 months of investigation involving 3 organizations and 400 volunteers has revealed that surveillance pricing systems definitely exist in grocery retail. However, we can't definitively prove they're fully operational because we can't see inside the algorithms. And that's intentional. It's a system designed to stay hidden from consumers and regulators alike. The work we've done provides compelling evidence. But state attorneys general have subpoenaed power. They can demand information and look under the hood to understand exactly how firms are using consumer data to set prices. They can force the transparency that voluntary disclosure will never provide. What we've uncovered represents just the beginning of understanding how algorithmic pricing is reshaping grocery retail. The technology exists, the incentives are clear, and the regulatory framework is still catching up. As consumers, we're participating in a massive experiment where our shopping behavior is constantly analyzed and used to determine what will be charged. The question isn't whether this technology will become more sophisticated. It will. The question is whether we'll develop adequate protections for consumers before it becomes completely invisible and unavoidable. Until then, every grocery purchase is potentially feeding an algorithm designed to extract maximum profit from your next shopping trip.